Yeah, okay. There's a couple of different brands of these that you can buy. These are called B-Box. We tried the B-Max boxes. I don't like how those are built and put together.
No.
They have a lot of extra feet
It's hers,
space
it's on them.
on the top, and then the brackets across the boxes. They just set in there, and then the frames can flop all over. I don't like those. So these are the B boxes, and this is the 6-frame nukes they call them, but they also come in the standard 10-frame boxes as well. This is just the one that we recently got painted to bring in for it. So Lori's going to go over some stuff on sizes, cost, and then we'll get into more stuff after.
So the basic kit, this is a 6-frame. They do sell 10 frames too. You can get it. You could also get a divider for this and make it into a queen mating nuke, 2 sides. The feeder has 2 separate sides for feeding them. So you could put syrup in here and the bees on each side, or you could just use this for 1 colony. We stack these 2 high over winter, 2 high instead of, so it's 12 frames instead of like a 10-frame hive, or 20 if you stack it 2 high. So instead of trying to heat outwards, it heats up for heating the bees. This is what comes with the kit. I have a price list here. You get your bottom board and it's screened in. I just painted these a few days ago. So the screen is right here that goes in the bottom board. It comes with 2 entrance reducers, so you can actually close this all the way if you want to put 1 colony in it on one side and just leave the other side open to reduce robbing. And then it comes with 1 deep, and then it comes with a top cover. So the new ones that they have, we saw at the expo in Kentucky, they're actually deeper right here. They're caved out, so you could put pollen patties on here better. That's the only flaw we've noticed with these. Then, when you want to add honey super, this is the honey super you can get with it too. We've used it a lot, and the super's $22.95. So the big kit by itself, that's $49.99.
So how many frames fit here?
6,
6.
yeah.
But you can get the 10-frame ones.
You can get the 10-frame ones too, yeah. And then the feeder is $24.95. You can see we stacked these 2 high, so this is already high with the feeder on there. And then the cover. And they have grooves on the sides right here, so if you want to strap it down, it's made to be strapped down. Because you're probably wondering if the wind's going to blow that lid right off, and it will, so we strap all our hives. There's even grooves on the bottom board too. When you get it, you have to paint it. It has to be painted with concrete or masonry paint. It's real gritty. I think they make it to where it's not gritty, but it feels like it has sand in it. If you use oil-based paints, it will eat the polystyrene. It'll eat the polystyrene up, so melts it away, disintegrate it. They are, yeah. We actually got to meet with the people who make them. So
I saw those over there when we were there last year.
Blue Sky Bee Supply sells them, so you can order them from them. And they're really good about getting them to you really quickly too.
They're the only supplier in the U.S.
Yeah, they're the only supplier in the U.S. for these. I know they make B-Max. Some of the bigger companies sell. We got a B-Max hive, a 10-frame, and the spacing on top, it was really bad. There was too much space up there, and the bees would fill it up with burr comb. Their measurements are all off on the B-Max that we had gotten.
So the 10-frame size, if I recall looking at Blue Sky, they fit the wooden boxes.
They do, yeah. We use our wooden supers on them. We didn't buy any supers for ours. Because we have 10 frames too, like this.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so if you get the 10-frame one, all of your honey supers fit right on top of it. The measurements are exactly the same, so that the wooden stuff fits right on top of these ridges, so you don't have to do anything different for your honey supers. And this, I don't know if Lori mentioned it or not, this is what you get when you buy just one kit, and this is only $49, right? And then we always keep them 2 hives, so then that extra box I think is 22 or 23
Yeah.
bucks.
And then the divider that you get with it, it's a corrugated divider that just slides right down here. If you wanted to split the hives, that's $6.95 that goes with it. So it fits perfectly in there. We've used them for queen mating nukes before. Works great. They go out their opposite doors. And
So then,
6 frame is more like a nuke almost, right?
yeah, it's kind of like a nuke.
Yeah.
We use it a lot for, like she said, rearing queens. And the easiest way that we do it is we'll put 2 hives in this box, in this frame, when we put our queens in, and we have a bunch of these. And then as the summer, as it moves along, we move 1 hive to another box, and then just keep growing them this way. They grow a lot faster in these styrofoam boxes because they're able to stay warmer easier. And then they'll keep growing, and then we'll end up putting on the second box. So then by the time September rolls around, they pretty much have these full, and we overwinter them that way. Then in the spring, when they're full of bees, a lot of times we'll take all the bees out of it and put it in a regular 10 frame and start putting the little splits back into these, in the summer. So that works really well. Let's see. They have no trouble overwintering with 12 frames. We've been using these like this for probably 4 years. Right now we have 13 polystyrene hives, and we've never lost a hive over winter out of a poly box. When you look at the wooden boxes, they've done a lot of studies where they have the brood minder temperature sensors up in the top, and the temperatures in the wooden boxes, they fluctuate a lot, anywhere between 10 degrees warmer than the outside temp to 70 degrees in there. And that's actually part of the problem. They'll warm up during the day and the bees will disperse and try to find honey. And then when it starts to cool down, they don't all get back in the cluster, and that's why some of them die. The bees, they've done studies that they generally stay about 70 degrees whole winter inside those boxes. 2 weeks ago, we opened them up to check everything, and none of our poly bees, none of them in there are in cluster. They're just walking around for the most part. I mean, they're in a loose cluster, but they're not packed together tight. And then the other day, we opened all of our wooden hives when it was like 50 degrees that day, and all those bees are still in cluster. So they're staying a lot warmer in these poly hives than the wooden hives. It really helps them, and over the summer, it helps them a lot to have that insulation. You would think they would get too hot in these boxes, but just like insulation helps your house in the summer, it helps the bees in the summer too. If they don't get nearly as hot, we don't have a lot of bearding in the front of the hives in the summer. And anytime that your bees are bearding, they're basically wasting their time, because all they're doing is trying to cool down that hive. They're not taking care, they're not feeding the brood as much, they're not collecting honey, they're not collecting pollen, they're just working on cooling that hive. So they've found that the bees that are kept in poly hives will produce about 20% more honey during the summer than in a wooden hive, just because of the temperature fluctuations. Even if you don't use these hives, a lot of things that you can do in the summer with your wooden hives, if you see your bees are bearding, you can do something really simple, like just putting a piece of plywood over the top of the hive. That'll give them some shade so that they can help cool their hive a lot better. So, anybody have, questions on these hives?
2 questions. First one, what was that company again?
This is called a bee box,
Okay.
and the company that makes it, I think it's a silly name like this.
Paradise. It's called Paradise.
No, Paradise. Yeah, Paradise Bee Company. But they're in Finland.
Yeah.
Can't
They
order
won't-
from them.
Yeah, they won't let you order from
The
them.
only place you can get them from is Blue Sky Bee Supply. Where are they out of? Texas or
Ohio.
Ohio?
Out of Ohio.
If you get bee culture, the January issue always included a blue sky catalog.
Yep.
So,
And, the second one is, there is no towel.
No. When it gets hot in summer, and I do this on all of my hives, I'll just crack open the lid and put a stick in there and I'll. And all winter long, we don't vent on any of these poly hives. And that's actually why I stopped putting an upper entrance on all my wooden hives. Because these, none of these had it, and all these always made it through the winter. So I stopped putting a top entrance on my wooden hives, and I started putting insulation around the hive. You know, the 2-inch thick pink insulation, screwing it right against the side of the hives. I lined all of them up. There's like 20 wooden ones right in a row, and I just cut strips and just screwed insulation right to the sides and ends and the tops. So far they're all alive.
Question, again, during the summer, you're talking, you were adding to that, the wooden, super.
So for these 6-frame nukes, none of our wooden stuff matches up with these. So we bought a bunch of medium supers just to go on some of these. But like we said, most of these we don't try to keep them in these hives, the whole really big hives, the honey production hives. We don't try to keep them in these just because we don't have enough, because we're trying to make a lot of nukes. So we break them down and put them in this one box.
My question though is, during summer when you're doing that, you said you can put your 10 frame supers on.
Oh, 10 frame supers fit on the 10 frame polystyrene.
Right, that's what I mean, they
Yeah.
fit, but then, you're talking about they're all styrofoam together. If you start putting the wood on that, did you notice any difference in the box? Because that insulation value is gonna be.
Yeah, it's not quite as good, but it's still, because they'll keep all the brood down in that bottom box, which is what they really try to keep cool. So they're able to still cool that. So yeah, the 10 frame boxes, we just stack medium supers right up on those. No problem. They all match up exactly.
It's like a
and
screen
use
door.
the same colors that you would normally.
That's their
Thank you.
ventilation for
Yeah.
winter.
You have one? Yeah.
First, do you notice any add to the pop boxes?
We haven't broken one yet.
You see jetting or? It's pretty high density.
This one?
Typically, you're splitting it apart.
Yeah.
Strap them down pretty
So,
tight and they don't break.
If you can take a look at this one's probably 4 or 5 years old already.
Yeah.
So there's some, but
And breast cancer awareness.
yeah, these are R8. So wood is only R1, so it's much better. And what he was asking about is, do the hive tools damage the corners a lot when you're prying up the frames? We haven't seen that. One of the reasons is it has this really nice slick plastic. It doesn't stick as tight to this stuff as it does to the wooden frames. So, I mean, a lot of the ones that we have are, like I said, 4 or 5 years old, and they look fine. I don't see any reason you can't have these for 20 years, They might not have quite as much tensile strength as wood, like if you dropped it on a corner like this, maybe, or if it was completely full of frames and you dropped it on the side, it might break, but you have more problems than that if you drop the box on the side anyway.
So there's also a chemical, not a chemical really, but if they do get some kind of mold in them, which all hives do, even woodenware does, once in a while we'll see that. There's stuff you can clean it with and soak it in that's safe for this. It's a soda.
It's just so, you can buy just soda crystals.
They're called soda
Like,
crystals.
these feeders,
The feeders are the ones that do it.
they're the ones that do it when that sugar water sits up in here. It'll turn black in here sometimes. I don't know what it is, but you just soak it in some soda water. We did it with this one.
Soda
and then
crystals?
yeah, you just buy a bag of soda crystals, put water in there and soak it, and it just all comes right off.
Amazon sells the soda crystals, so they're not that much.
It's not baking soda, it's soda crystals. really know the difference,
There
but,
must be some chemical.
yeah.
And you can't paint, you have to use a special paint on those,
Yep,
Yeah.
the masonry paint,
masonry.
yeah.
So does that chip off at all, or is that adhere pretty good? to
It
that
stays on
top?
there pretty good. I mean, I suppose it'll chip off some,
Yeah,
yeah. But, it's a pretty tough paint from what I can see.
And then you use wooden frames in them?
Sorry?
What kind of frames do you use?
Any-
What wood?
wood,
Standard
plastic,
frames, yeah.
whatever you wanna use.
Yep, it's standard length, straw, size. I mean, when you order it from Blue Sky, you can get different sizes. Well, I shouldn't say that. If you go to this company's website that builds these, they have like 30 different sizes of different size frames for all over the world. When you order from Blue Sky, I think they'll only sell length straw, because that's the only thing that
They don't sell frames, we don't come with frames.
You know, 'cause Blue Sky also sells standard wooden ware. too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Can you use latex paint on those, or do you have to use that?
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I haven't tried it, but the manufacturer recommends this type of paint. And I know from using spray paint, if you use anything like spray paint, anything that's oil-based like that, a lot of times it'll melt the edges
I
of this
use the
and make it
latex,
funny.
like that barn paint on regular, that pink styrofoam, and it doesn't need it.
Okay. It might work. I
It don't-
haven't tried any other kind of paint.
yeah, we don't want, yeah,
I just use
Yeah,
this stuff, yeah.
But it works, it didn't need to paint the latex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might work, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanna get up one, try it, you know. That's not,
Try in a place where you can't see it, right?
yeah. Yep.
Do the boxes come unassembled?
yes.
Yeah, that's one thing. They come unassembled, and all you need is glue to put them together,
Wood glue.
wood glue.
Oh, really?
So each end has just 3 little knobs on it, you put glue on it, and the company says all you have to do is push it tight together. But I can put all of my weight on this and push down on it, and it will not go all the way tight on the seams. So what I do is I just set it on this end, and I take a 2x4 and set it on here, and hit it a couple times with a hammer, and then it seats down tight. Otherwise, you'll have a tiny little crack that you can see through on these edges. So don't get too frustrated when you push it together and it doesn't go all the way, because it's not going to. You have to use a hammer with a piece of 2x4.
So type on 3 or something like that,
Yep.
that's waterproof?
Yep.
Okay.
You said they're so well insulated that the hives don't, I guess, cluster up in the winter. Do you
Yeah,
have
not
any
quite
way
as
to
much.
keep them?
Sorry? The last part of that?
Just wondering how much they eat in the winter, if they eat more, if they're more active.
Well, I've kept these over winter. Like I said, these have dividers in them. So I put the dividers in them and had hives that were only 3 frames. So 3 frames on one side, 3 frames on another, and then put another box on top. So I've overwintered hives with only 6 frames, which is only 3 frames of honey on top, so 21 pounds of honey or so. But in the full-size hives, generally when I open up in the spring, they're gonna have eaten 5 or so of those frames. So they're gonna still eat
So all
probably.
regular sized hives will only eat 5 frames of honey over winter?
Yep. Only about 40 pounds or so, and they're
Yeah,
insulated.
there's
growing
only
up.
6 frames of bees in there. So-
It's not a full size, it's a nuke size.
Yeah, it's a nuke size.
Well, I mean, it's
I thought you
12,
were-
12 frames.
Each year are full size ones though, right?
Yeah, we have full-size ones too.
Yeah, we overwinter and manage almost all of our colonies as 10 frame colonies. So all of our wooden ware, all of our hives, they're just one box. So they just have, in winter, we make sure they have at least 6 full frames of honey, and they'll only go through that. So. Anybody else? All right, that's it.
Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.